Hey guys, what's up? This is Hex. And yes, I'm still alive despite the craziness that's going on in the world right now. And I'm hoping that each one of you guys, seriously, is safe and sound and will continue to stay that way, until this whole thing blows over. Today, what I want to talk about is actually part of a few things that I've been thinking about this past year, and this is just improvements in the ESO that I feel uh, that need to be made. And I'm not talking like right at this minute, and I'm sure as hell not picking on ZeniMax. This is just something I've been thinking about, and I know ZeniMax has a ton of things on their plate right now that stuff that's way more major than what I'm going to talk about. But I'm hoping that once they get everything squared away further down the road, that maybe they'll come back and tweak some of the things that I'm going to talk about at some point. Today, I wanted to talk about dolmens or dark anchors. And my question, you know, this past year is like, should the difficulty be raised on dolmens? And then after much thought, I'd have to say yes, and I'm going to explain why. Um, Now, in the early years of ESO, um, when you were starting out, you're like level one, two, and so on. Um, Dolmens weren't really that easy until you started, to go up levels, and then as got more, as you got more powerful with better, armor and equipment and abilities, it became easier, and it finally got to the point where it was so easy that even I think even before you reach champion point, you could pretty much solo a dark anchor and have very little trouble with it. Now fast forward a few years later, and ZeniMax decides they're going to update a few aspects of the game, like world bosses, for example. And Dolmens was one of the things that they talked about that they were going to fix. Just try to make it more of a challenge for players. And I believe, and I'm not 100% certain on this one, if I'm incorrect, please put it down in the comments below what you believe it really was. But I think it was supposed to be scaled depending on how many players were participating in the event. I'm not 100% certain on that. But anyway, when the update released, it actually did feel more difficult. But the problem was, and this wasn't the mobs, because the mobs I feel were they're the right difficulty then, and they're the right difficulty still to this day. The thing I feel that needed worked on was the actual final boss that comes down at the end of the event. Um, it's just that I felt that it was disappointing because you have this boss that comes down. He's supposed to be really tough, but you have like 20 players converging down to him and just wailing on with weapon spells and all this other stuff, and he's basically taken down in like about 10 seconds. I mean, he doesn't last a full minute. I mean, he dies for pretty they die pretty quickly. Um, and to me, that's a little bit anti-climactic. It should be way more difficult than that. Now, I'm not talking like dragon levels or anything like that, but it should just be much more of a challenge because this is the main boss of this event. So it stands to reason that it should be much more difficult. Now, how ZeniMax is going to do this at some, which I'm hoping they'll do at some point, but how they are going to do it, I have no idea. I mean, I'm not going to sit there and pretend like I'm a programmer. I don't know how difficult it is to separate that boss from like the mobs as far as difficulty goes. I have no idea, but I'm hoping that if there's a way that maybe they might be able to maybe just give it a tweak at the end of it, and just make him just a bit more difficult. That way he lasts more than a few seconds. That way it gives us much more of a challenge and a feeling of accomplishment. But that's all I wanted to talk to you guys for today. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and please subscribe if you haven't done so already. And what do you guys think? Do you think that the difficulty for Dolmens is fine as is, or would you like to see what I'm talking about? Would you like to see that that boss level raised? Just let me know in the comments below. And I hope to talk to you guys real soon. And stay safe and take care.